Multi-digit multiplication with number chips. This is a digital lesson. It's a lot of fun for the students. They move these colorful chips around their screen to solve their multiplication. And this one is winter themed. So it starts with explaining to the students when you're multiplying these larger numbers, you're going to line up the two numbers the same way you line them up as if you were adding or subtracting from the ones place. And then when we're multiplying a 3-digit by a 1-digit, we're going to multiply from right to left. So first 3 times 3, then 3 times 2, and then 3 times 5. So the next slide shows them how that works. So 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 2, and this 2 you can explain to the students is actually 20 because it's in the tens place. So 3 times 2 is 6, and again that 6 will go in the tens place. And then 3 times 5 is 15. So they get a product of 1,569. Now, the first slide students are going to practice on, slide 5, and students are going to be moving these number chips. So all they have to do is click and hold on the edge, and they can move it wherever they like. They're going to be multiplying from right to left, and we're starting out with some easier problems. They're going to get more difficult as we go. So again, if they get to the end of their problem and the numbers aren't working, they know they've made an error somewhere and they need to go back and check. So in that way, it's self-checking. So from right to left, 3 times 2, 2 times 1, and 2 times 2. And every number should work. Every number they need is on every slide. If you'll notice, there's a letter and a yellow heart next to every problem. They're going to use that letter on the final slide when they solve a winter riddle. They're going to be matching their product to the letter. So if they get all of their problems correct, they should be able to solve that riddle. Next slide has 2 more problems, 3-digit times 1-digit. Then they're shown what they have to do if they have to carry. So in this case, if we have 4 times 7 and we get a 2-digit answer, we're going to keep the 8, 28, keep the 8. The 2 is going to move up here to the next column to the left, right above that 4. Now we multiply 4 times 4 is 16. Add 2, we get 18. That 8's going to stay there. The 1 goes to the next column to the left, right above the 6. And then 4 times 6 is 24, plus 1 is 25. So students are going to practice that once you explain how that works. Here they have a 4-digit by 1-digit. These smaller numbers are going to be the numbers that they carry. So 5 times 8 is 40. They're going to place the 0, and the 4 goes to the next column to the left. 5 times 2 is 10, and they add the 4, they get 14. They're going to place the 4 and carry the 1. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 1 is 21. They're going to place the 1, carry the 2. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 2 is 42, and that should work out perfectly. Okay, they've got the next slide. They're going to do the same thing with some more practice carrying. Then slide 10, it shows the students how to multiply a 3-digit by a 2-digit. So we're going to break that multiplication into 2 separate multiplication problems. 312 times 3, and then 312 times 20. So here we multiply 312 times 3, and because we're multiplying by 20, we have to start that second row on the right-hand side with a 0. Then they add all of the 2 products together, and they get their answer. So they're going to practice this on the next slide. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. We're going to keep the 2. We're going to carry a 1, even though we're not actually carrying numbers this time. They have to be able to do this in their head or on scratch paper. So 12, we carry the 1. That gives us 4 times 6 is 24, plus 1 is 25. So now we've multiplied by the number in the ones place. Now we're going to multiply by the number in the tens place. And because this is actually 50, not 5, we're going to start this second row on the right-hand side with a 0. So now 5 times 2 is 10. That gives us another 0, and we're going to carry a 1. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16. Carry a 1. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 1 is 31. Now we're going to add our two products together to get our final answer. And it should work out perfectly, 34,128. So students are going to get a lot of practice. They've got a few more problems. Now they have a 4-digit by a 2-digit. Got a couple of those. And then a 4-digit by a 3-digit. So here, these two zeros are already here for the students on the first problem. So I'm going to move this. I'm going to multiply first with the number in the ones place, this row. 3,482 times 5. The second row, again, they have to know that they start with a 0 because they're multiplying by 30. And then the third row, they're multiplying by a number in the hundreds place, so they have to start this third row with 2 zeros. So they have all the number chips they need. And then the very last problem, they don't insert the zeros for the student. They have to know to do that on their own. So they get to the last slide. They've got a winter riddle. What's the best winter breakfast? They're going to go back and find all of these products. These should be their answers from the previous slides. So once they find that answer, they're going to scroll back through and they're going to type in the letter that's next to that problem. And they should be able to solve the riddle. So this is the winter version of multi-step, multi-digit multiplication with number chips.